Hi, this is Skylar Wyche with the Economic Development Corporation, along with my colleague here, Mr. Pete Goodson.
Good afternoon. Pete Goodson. I'm the reentry coordinator here at One Stop Career Center.
And we're going to be speaking to you today about the reentry services here offered at the One Stop, also on how to actually formulate a job search, execute a job search, um, and develop the right attitude going into the job search. Just some quick housekeeping issues here. Feel free to ask questions during the presentation using the question and answer section here. Also, all questions will be answered at the presentation at the end of the presentation. And please check to ensure that your volume is up on your computer or device. Reentry is a community issue. We understand that here at the One Stop, especially in Prince George's County, what we have found, the research has found that 76% of the individuals found it difficult to obtain employment after returning from incarceration.
See, employment is really important. I mean, that's the most important thing. That employment and housing are the two important things for a person that's returning, a citizen coming home. He or she needs to get a job and needs to have a place to stay. So employment is definitely a community issue, and it's something that we have to really try to find employment for these returning citizens.
And throughout this presentation, me and Mr. Goodson, we're going to actually give you tips and pointers and more importantly, resources as it relates to employment to actually going through the process and gaining full-time employment. The attitude towards the job search is extremely important. Me and Mr. Goodson have sat down with several customers and we've sat down and we talked to them and we identified a couple of different adjustments to their attitude that help them actually go out and become successful. One of the things we talked about is they want to be an example for others to follow. They're willing to attend job training programs to enhance their skill set, and they have to rely on different resources to gain employment resources such as the One Stop.
That's right, and I think though we'll probably talk a little bit more about it as we go on. Those resources in the One Stop, those are valuable resources. But in addition, we're going to also talk about that network that they have to build a network. Because networking is another the key again towards finding employment. The attitude, it starts with the attitude. If the attitude's not right, you can't go anywhere.
Exactly. Exactly. Once again, Mr. Goodson talked about utilizing your support network. With your support network, it includes your family, your faith-based organizations, government agencies, parole officer, and one-stop career center.
And when you think about the family, you could start with that family. That's a basic network, a support system of it. Yeah. So if we don't have the family in place, we want to have some friends that are definitely in our corner. Faith-based organizations, churches, other community outreach, faith-based organizations will help us. Government agencies, a lot of resources there. Parole officers and probation officers, they have a lot of valuable resources. And also the One-Stop Career Center.
You know, when you tap into your network, it's important to let your network know that you're seeking employment opportunities. You know, that's where it starts after you develop your resume and you actually go through and you identify what type of jobs you want to apply to. That's when you want to share with your network, hey, this is what I'm looking for. These are the opportunities that I'm open to.
Services variety of the One Stop. We have a job club, which we basically returning citizens or ex-offenders. We meet once a week. We meet on Monday from 9 to about 12, where we actually do job search. In addition to that, we prepare our resumes, or cover letters, or thank you letters, or applications. We do mock interviews. Also, from time to time, we have speakers come in and talk about job openings. And we also discuss interviews from the past week that we've been in. So it's a pretty much a nice support group. The resume workshop that those individuals that need to be able to work their resumes and have workshops for resume for interviewing. The federal bonding is another tool we use in helping returning citizens find employment. Quality mapping a quality job search is another great workshop that we have, and customized real training services. That's where those individuals that qualify for training, they're able to receive training to get a license or some type of certification.
Yeah, and what we found in the past is that with the customized real-world training, along with the mapping of quality job search, individuals can enter their employment more quickly if they understand what it is that they want to study, and then those requirements to get to that particular occupation. For example, here at the One Stop, if they want to go through customized real-world training, we issue something called an occupational research assignment. That occupational research assignment really allows our customers to identify the trends in the industry in which they want to enter. So, for example, if they want to enter the commercial driver's license, we have them Class A or Class B. We have them do the research along with our assistants to see if that industry is growing by a certain percentage over the next 5 years. So that's extremely important. We put several customers through training and had several success stories, but it all starts with that research and identifying what it is, what's happening in those trends in the industry. Also, we conduct a individualized employment plan where we actually record short and long-term goals. When we develop this IEP, it really allows us to jot down the goals, jot down timetables, and really what is the plan to get this particular individual to employment. And once again, all these services are offered here at the One Stop. When you come into the One Stop, like Mr. Goodson was saying, Mr. Goodson actually oversees the job club that happens every Monday from 9 to 12. From 9 to 12. So Mr. Goodson actually oversees that job club.
How to prepare for the job search. As we talked before, you want to start off by creating a resume. You want to create a nice resume. Oftentimes, returning citizens need to create what we call a functional resume. This resume highlights your skills, experience, and it kind of covers any red flags as far as with gaps in employment. You also want to share it with your network. You get your resume, you want to make sure your network has a copy of the resume, or they can take a look at it. They can help you say, well, this looks good, but you might need to improve this or that. So you want to share that with your network. You want to attend job fairs and hiring events, and that's a good place where you can network and get information and get employers' cards so you can follow up. And then you want to obtain a federal bonding letter. This is a letter of eligibility, which means that you're eligible for the federal bonding program, which means that you can also be bonded up to $5,000 through the state of Maryland. This tool will help us with the private sector. It helps us, it kind of levels the playing field at times, because employers may look at us as if you're a returning citizen, you have the skills, you have the experience. However, they see you as a high-risk individual. So therefore, that federal bonding will help us, help the employer to encourage them to hire returning citizens.
Mr. Goodson, what would you say about the job duties and responsibilities that one perform while incarcerated? Should they record that on their resume?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like we talked about a couple of days ago, well, oftentimes individuals who are incarcerated, they may get their GED, they may obtain a associate degree, a bachelor's degree. They may have to go to apprenticeship. They may be a tutor. They receive a lot of different types of training or obtain skills while incarcerated, and those skills are transferable. You want to put them on your resume, and you want to highlight those skills, even though you gain them while you're incarcerated, but they are still valuable skills for the workforce.
Exactly. And when sharing your resume with your network, as we talked about in a couple of slides before, when you get that resume and it's developed and it's just like how you want it, you want to make sure you go through that process and share that resume with your network. And I think moving into the end of 2016 and going to 2017, it's important that you email that resume so they can have an electronic copy. A lot of our customers may come in with a paper resume, and that's great, but we want to forward that resume on. It benefits to have it electronically. In attending job fairs and hiring events, it's important that you kind of know who's at the hiring events. We have job fairs and hiring events here at the One Stop, and a lot of times we have the information of who the employers that are going to be here. so we can go through that process and share that information before they get here.
Oftentimes at the hiring events that we have, I know them ahead of time, and I can prepare job club customers for those events. Oftentimes, a lot of them come to those events and they're job ready. They have the skills and qualifications to do the job, and good resume, and several of them have been hired just by attending that event.
Because we have a team, we have a business team that's dedicated to actually going through and helping residents of Prince George's County find employment. And a lot of times they'll email us a flyer or they will coordinate the hiring events. So after that resume is developed and it's shared, then we can actually go through the process and forward that resume on for that support. The job search techniques, and we talked about a resume. Mr. Goodson spoke on a functional resume. And we don't expect you to actually just watch this PowerPoint presentation and know how to create a functional resume. We actually have a workshop here at the One Stop that's dedicated to how to create a resume. That workshop, you can come in person or you can register online at the Maryland Workforce Exchange and actually take part in that workshop. But these are a couple of brief points to highlight the skills. Highlight your skills in your resume. Focus on accomplishments. If you were tasked to make 15 deliveries in a shift and you made 17, you want to highlight that in your resume. You want to be specific, share your accomplishments again, and share the details of what you did on that duty.
You want to be honest too. You want to be honest on that resume, because you don't want to put skills or experience on it that you don't really have, because eventually once it goes out and you go to an interview setting, you don't have to talk about that experience. You don't have to talk about those skills. Or if you happen to get on the job, you want to perform those skills. So you want to be honest, and you want to communicate that you have the skills required to perform the job. That's important, that you communicate that. You can have it on your resume, but you got to be able to communicate that to the employer.
Wow, we get into the interview part of it, and the interview part of it can be some of the most challenging yet rewarding yet nervous part of the whole process. A couple of key things I'm going to cover. The first two here is you want to educate the employer during that interview. You want to share with that employer that, hey, I have the talents and responsibilities and history to perform this job. So you want to educate them. You also want to engage them. Talk to them. Be cordial. Have a conversation. Keep them engaged by sharing your skills.
You want to excite them and the employer. As we said before, the interview is the most important step in the whole job process. We can have the great resume, the great cover letter, we can have the great application, but when it comes down to the interview, that's the most important step. And so we want to excite. So we want to have the employer excited about the fact that here is a great candidate in front of him or her, and they have the skills, they have the experience, they're excited about being there for that opportunity. And we said energize, or when I think about energize, I think about the enthusiasm, that energy that you bring to that interview. Oftentimes the interviewers, they'll interview a lot of people, and as they interview those individuals, they're constantly pulling from them, and their energy level may go a little low. So you come in and you got energy or you got enthusiasm, you kind of lift that interviewer up, and he or she remembers you because of that enthusiasm. You're glad to be there. You're excited about this opportunity. And that enthusiasm sometimes is even more powerful than having the experience.
Absolutely. And me and Mr. Goodson and I both have had several stories where we've been mock interviews with customers, where we go through the process. So customers here at the One Stop, after they create the resume and go through that process and share it with their network, oftentimes it produces an interview. And then if they have that interview, they can actually give us a call and we can do a mock interview. Or me and him sometimes will actually do a panel interview where we actually sit down and we ask the tough questions. But more importantly, like Mr. Goodson said, answering those questions with energy and excitement is really key. It's really key.
Again, that interview, that's the deal breaker right there. We want to close the deal. We want to close the deal. Now sometimes you can go to the interview, guys, and can do everything right and be great at it and still don't get the job. But you can always get that feedback from that employer or that interviewer, and he or she can give you some more points or tips, or you can say, well, man, you've done a great job. that somebody had just a little bit more than you did, qualification level. So again, interviewing is, the more we do it, the better we get at it.
The better we get at it. And I see the interview as success. If you're interviewing someone and they've called you, and that means you have an opportunity to gain employment. Because something in your resume, something in your presentation, whether you got the interview from an hiring event, or they pulled your resume offline, or you emailed it to them directly, it's something in that interview that made that employee want to block out some time from their day, sit down with you, Mr. Goodson, and have a conversation. So that is a win in itself. But like Mr. Goodson said, sometimes you can do everything right, and they just go with another candidate.
Yeah. But that interview, like you said, Skylar, I mean, that's to get to the interview. They've seen that you have the skills and qualifications to do the job. And employers are not just interviewing to be interviewed. They're interviewing people that they feel that might fit in that position, or they might have that do have the skills and qualifications to do the job. So when you get to the interview, like you said, that's one victory right there.
Exactly.
The resume done what it's supposed to do, and it opened the door to the job interview.
Exactly. Now, when they interview you, they want to know a couple of things. They want to know about 3 or 4 things.
Oh yeah. I mean, employers want to know, do you have the experience and the training to perform the job? Are you dependable? Are you efficient and productive? You know, when you think about those 3 things, oftentimes we have to switch seats here. You got to think like the employer for a minute. Employer, he goes or she goes through a process of interviewing people that they feel that they have experience. And when they look at their being dependable, and dependability is not only showing up on time, but being able to get tasks and assignments done, you know, in a timely manner, and being efficient and productive. If you hire individuals who don't have the experience, or they're not dependable, or not productive, or not, and they don't get along well with other people, what happens is our productivity drops. When our productivity drops, we go back. It's all about the money. Mm-hmm. You got to see it from the financial standpoint from the employer. And if the employer doesn't hire the right person the first time, they got to go back around through the cycle again. So that's time and that's money. So when the employer looks at us as job seekers, you know, we have to think like they think, and it's all about the money.
It's all about the money. What would you suggest in building that trust factor? I know I see the interview as a great opportunity to build trust. What do you think you can do, Mr. Goodson, during that interview process to build trust with that potential employer?
I think you first have to start off being honest.
Yeah, and you want to be honest, and you want to be transparent. You know, you want to share your skill gains. You want to emphasize your desire to make a new start. One of the things that you can do in the interview, because you're addressing your background and addressing your record may come up during the interview process, and you just want to be as transparent as possible by talking about the skills gained while you're incarcerated. You want to also make an emphasis on making a new start, and just communicate to that employer that most importantly that you can do the job. Be transparent is really straightforward. If they ask you a question that's on that resume, and if they ask you a question that's not on the resume as it relates to your background, you want to be transparent and you want to communicate it. You don't have to go in a lot of detail about it, but you want to make sure you're communicating it to the point that you're honest.
Yeah, you're right. Be transparent. Not of details, as Skylar just said, but you want to be honest on it. You want to. And in addition to that, you want to share the skills gained while you're incarcerated. We talked about that earlier. Those skills are, again, valuable skills, so we're going to talk about those also. You want to emphasize your desire to make a new start. And that goes back to attitude. And we want to also remember that the federal bonding letter, or the federal bonding, is another positive thing that we need as we address that background. Even though you can be bonded through the state of Maryland up to $5,000. In addition to that, you want the federal bonding program, it reduces the risk for employers and makes them more likely to hire ex-offenders. This program has been in use for over 50 years, so it's been around a long time. It's a very solid program. Again, it kind of helps that employer to realize that even though I have the skills and qualifications to do the job. They may see me as a high risk, but that bond, knowing that I can be bonded and insured through the state, it kind of level the playing field a little bit for me. It gives them another opportunity to work.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes when they come in with that federal bonding letter, that shows the employer that they have forward thinking.
Exactly.
You know, even if the employer doesn't take advantage of this opportunity, it shows that this particular person has done their research, they're prepared.
But the federal bonding letter too also says that it's a letter of eligibility that once they're registered in the one stop and they fill out the form and they can meet with me, I can give them that letter that same day, the letter of eligibility. They can come in and get the letter the same day.
Because I know in many cases it varies from state to state, right, Mr. Goodson?
Yes.
Okay.
I know when we went to the meeting in Virginia, it took pretty much, I think their particular program took a couple of days before they could get the letter of eligibility. But we were able to give the letter the same day.
Okay. So the process for that, I know they have to be registered in the Maryland Workforce Exchange. We're gonna have the address to the one stop here at the end of the presentation. And then they fill out the document and you actually generate the letter.
We can generate the letter to them right here.
Okay, great. And that's another resource that's available here at the one stop.
Expungement. Expungement is a court-ordered process in which the legal record, arrest, or criminal conviction is sealed or erased in the eyes of the law. Now, expungement in Prince George County, we've had this past year at least 3 expungement clinics where lawyers have come to either Reed Temple or some other sites, and they provided their services where they've actually helped individuals that have background issues complete the expungement forms and turn them in free of charge. The expungement is a process that we need to look at our background and see what's on there. And oftentimes it's things that can come off.
Okay.
And if we can pick up or print out the charges and get the documentation at the courthouse, we can actually go through and fill that information out and submit it back to the courts with $30 check or money order, and they can start the process. But the expungement is very important that we can get things taken off. Now we get to the felonies where we can't get those taken off, and if it's been a long period of time, we can always request a pardon.
Okay.
A pardon through the states, through the government. So that's another option we have. But if anything we can get taken off our background, we want to do that.
Okay, great. And that's another resource that we have here in terms of walking you through that process and helping you. If someone was to go to an expungement clinic, so what documents would they need to bring?
Well, they would need if they can have copy of the background information, the record, the information, have that. And basically, at the clinics, they have the forms, they have the petitions already there. So all they would do is take their background information, and the lawyers would actually help them fill out the petitions and sign all of them, and then they would be turned back into the courts.
Well, I just have clear here for full access to a full array of our job seeking services and workshops offered. Please visit us at the One Stop. Now, it's important to remember that when you visit the One Stop, you do not need an appointment. It's walk-in services that are available to register with our Maryland Workforce Exchange. We have assistance in that room at all times, so it's critically important that you get involved in our system. All the services that we have here at the One Stop do require you to be registered in the Maryland Workforce Exchange, so that's important. Also, when you seek different employment opportunities, you can seek those through the One Stop system, and employers can actually seek you out through the system as well. Did you want to add anything in terms of the One Stop service, Mr. Goodson, or the next?
No, I think pretty much you covered everything about the One Stop. Again, Job Club, we have Job Club on Monday from 9 to 12. It's open entry, open exit, so you can come in. Oftentimes people may come in and they may not stay for a couple sessions, and they have employment. Others may have to stay a little longer. But it's open entry, open exit, and you can come in any number of times.
Well, thank you so much. Any questions that you want to type and share, we will definitely be excited to answer those and provide responses at this time.
All right, we do have one question. Are there specific companies that you know of that are liberal in hiring ex-offenders? So is there like a listserv of companies that are very open to, or have you made note of certain companies that are very open to hiring ex-offenders?
Um, I used to have a list of maybe about 15 or 20 of those employers that were open, liberal behind ex-offenders and returning citizens. Over the years, what happened was that list, individuals coming out of prison, people that know, people that needed a job, they were referring people to some of these employers that got hold of the list. And what happened was the employers received people that weren't job ready. Since then, what I've found out very helpful was that I've had our job club individuals or returning citizens apply for all jobs that they qualify for, and those jobs they're finding jobs everywhere. Actually, and employers are looking at them on case-by-case basis. So it kind of, even though we don't have that list, we get them job ready. We get them to the place where they have a license or certification, and they're able to find jobs.
Okay. So it looks like those are all the questions we have for today. However, if you do have more questions about the presentation you saw today and the services here at the Prince George's One Stop Career Center or the Rural Regional Workforce Center, you please visit the Prince George's One Stop Center Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. or Friday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you can call in at 301-618-8425. The Prince George's One Stop Career Center is located at 1801 McCormick Drive, Suite 120. That's on the first floor in Largo, Maryland. And then also the Laurel Regional Workforce Center is located at 312 Marshall Ave on the 6th floor in Laurel, Maryland. And you can reach the Laurel Regional Workforce Center at 301-362-9708. And they have the same office hours as the Prince George's One Stop Center. And one thing that I want to point out is these services are absolutely free, and you do not need to have an appointment ahead of time to walk in and ask for assistance. So again, my name is Joshua Reynolds. I am the communication specialist here at the Prince George's County the Prince George's County Economic Development Corporation, and I want to thank two of what we call EDC's angels for sharing what it is they do to help our returning residents find gainful employment. And I want to thank you for all that you've done to share your information, all that you continue to do to help place thousands of people into gainful employment. So thank you for joining us. Please go ahead and share this video that you've watched today, and then also share the information you learned as well as our contact information. We are always open to help and love to help. So thank you, Mr. Goodson and Mr. Wyche.
Thank you.
Thank you.